The next two episodes are also two-parters, so they can be thought of as one giant episode. The first episode was titled Under the Lake, followed by Before the Flood. They're, well, about water and being underwater. And this one actually has potential, I thought, to be a really interesting one. It starts off with the Doctor breaking the fourth wall. He's talking to the audience about temporal paradoxes, specifically the bootstrap paradox, and even tells you to basically go Google it. And it's interesting how he talks about it and what goes on. The story we get into starts off interestingly enough. Are there ghosts? Are there not ghosts? Well, there aren't ghosts, of course. There are always something else. And that whole rigmarole and all that. And so we then see that, oh, the Doctor dies, but he doesn't really die because he comes back as a ghost, but he's not really a ghost because he's in the past, dealing with an alien that's in the past that for some reason uses dead people to create a transmitter to transmit to his people so they can come here and invade the planet. I don't know. But again, it's a loose Doctor Who sci-fi reason, so we'll accept that. A lot of stuff happens in the episode. Again, I'm not going to go over the entire episode. It wasn't an overall bad episode. It had its moments of just shaking my head, but I can accept it as a silly Doctor Who adventure, and it was. It was a good adventure episode. Next up, another two-part episode grouping. This one encompasses the girl who died and the woman who lived. And it starts off basically in a Viking village. Now, what makes these episodes special, because a lot of people were so excited, because I guess the actress that's in it is also in Game of Thrones, which, full disclosure here, never watched an episode of Game of Thrones. That's right, never have. Why? Not that I'm not interested in it. I think I would like the series, but I just haven't. I don't have HBO, and I haven't gone out of my way to watch it. My friends have it. I could watch it anytime I want to. I just haven't. I've got a ton of stuff on my plate, and just no room for another show. So anyway, the lead actress in this episode is from that show, so that's supposed to be a big deal. So of course they start off in a medieval type era. Aliens come down, challenge their warriors. Warriors get wiped out. The woman challenges basically the head alien to a whole big challenge with the village and causes a big stir. So the Doctor reluctantly finally gets involved with the whole thing, although he doesn't seem like he wants to, but eventually he does. Typical episode stuff. And they create, I need to clear my throat for this because it's important. They create a trick to defeat the aliens. The trick? They basically create a puppet. They create a puppet to freak out the alien army and freak it out and make them run away. It's basically, I just saved you a whole lot of time watching the episode. Of course, in the episode, the lead actress gets killed and she's dead. And she's lying there. And any other time, any other episode, the Doctor would have been like, you know what, that happens sometimes. Or, I don't know, he could have given her some regeneration juju. But apparently that doesn't work this time. So he uses technology from the aliens that attacked them, these little chips, that basically embed into your body and then repair any damage. It makes a soldier pretty durable. Implants it in her, and voila, she wakes up, she's alive. Oh, but there's a nasty little side effect of she can't die. At least not in any feasible way that might occur to her on Earth at that time period. Well, of course, that's gonna be a problem. So anyway, at the end of this episode, we get to see her expression on her face as time passes by. She's happy, she's solemn, and eventually she's kind of sad, and eventually she's kind of pissed because she's living forever, and the Doctor just kind of abandoned her, which, again, is sort of his MO, isn't it? That leads us into the second part of this arc, where we see the Doctor in, I don't know, like 18th century, maybe 17th century, 17th century London, dealing with bandits. He's looking for some piece of lost alien technology. Pretty standard. He encounters, of course, the character Ishilda, I think is her name, but she goes by Me at this point, because that's convenient and easy to pay attention to. So anyways, they encounter each other, she knows who he is, etc., etc. Turns out there is an interesting side effect to living forever, and that is she can't remember everything. Basically, it establishes that the human brain only has a certain amount of capacity, and after a while, that hard drive, you have to start writing over data. So she writes down everything that she experiences so that she doesn't forget forever, and then goes back and reads stuff to remind her. That actually is pretty interesting and pretty clever, I thought. And then she tears out certain pages. She says because things that bother her, disturb her, but we really don't know the whole story behind that. Apparently, at some point, she has kids, but they die of the plague because they don't have the same thing in their head. So that kind of makes her jaded, makes her angry. So she takes up this life of crime, sort of, just, I think, because she's bored, which is legitimate. I think if I lived forever, I'd probably become a master cat thief. I'd be no Rufio Lorenzo, but, I do my best. So in this episode, we learn that she is actually working with another alien from another planet, which apparently is in Hades or something like that. I don't know. I'm losing track at this point. And she's all for letting innocent people die, but eventually the doctor kind of convinces her not to. An innocent-ish guy gets killed in order to open the portal. The doctor saves him with the other immortality chip, puts it in his head, uses the energy, seals the portal, saves the day. Oh, but wait, there's more. The guy, he was not going to be fully immortal because they used a lot of the power out of the chip to close the portal, and thusly, she has to, as in me, as in Shielda, has to take care of this guy until he dies, which we don't know when that'll happen. And the doctor hops back in the TARDIS, and away we go. Next up, we have another dual-part episode, another tiny little arc within the larger storyline. It is the Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion, and of course this deals with the Zygons, those red squiggly things that take the shape of humans, or honestly they take the shape of any being, and that's a leftover from the big Three Doctors, I think it was the Three Doctors episode, and they're on the planet, and they're all trying to basically kind of live together, blah, blah, blah. Of course, now something has happened. We know that Oswin, I believe that's her name, one of the Oswins dies because the Master kills her. The other one's left, kind of freaks out because her twin is gone. And she doesn't know, is she human or is she Zygon? That's pretty much all you need to know about those two episodes. It all comes down to that. Are you who you think you are, or are you who other people think you are? Basically is the entire nut of that episode. And that episode, those two episodes were probably my, I'm not going to say least favorite, but on the top of the list of episodes this season that just, it was unnecessarily complicated. It was unnecessarily just dragging on. And I think they could have accomplished what they wanted in one episode and moved on. But who knows? I'm not going to go through all the details of that episode because, quite frankly, it's confusing as hell. People change who they are and who they aren't, and this happens and that happens, and blah, 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 blah. In the end, though, guess what? There's peace. The Zygons are back to being cool with everyone. There's now two Oswins again, and there's that whole reference to being a hybrid, which is a reoccurring theme in all these episodes because, newsflash, there's supposed to be a hybrid between a Dalek and a human, which, by the way, they've been setting up this whole hybrid thing. It was a weapon that was supposed to be created by the Time Lords at some point. Didn't Tennant do that way back when in an episode where we had a merged Time Lord and a merged Dalek, and it became basically a human with a turkey on his head? It was. Look it up. There's an episode where there was a hybrid, and he was actually a good guy. He was a nice guy. He was going to be this, not military leader. He was going to be this great guy to lead the universe into a new era, and then he gets killed, I think, by one of the other Daleks, if I remember correctly. But it's been a while. So anyway, yeah, that happens. And, alright, whatever. Moving on to the next set of episodes.